Give it the movement. Live it to the rhythm. Music you've been given. The movement. Come to live it.
Good evening. Welcome to MR.SNACKS, Soul Cafe. My name is Julia Caesar. And here is the one and only, Hiroshi.
All right. Thank you, Julia. Welcome. Wow, it's been a crazy few days here. Crazier than a mob boss in high heels, I tell you. The mind does swing, as I shared in the past. Life doesn't swing, but the mind swings between opposites. The mind is duality, and our dissatisfaction in life is our not liking life as it is. There is a resistance that happens, and in which we want one part of the opposite, and we reject the other part. Life being one energy, that's impossible to divide, to separate. But it continues, right? We want happiness instead of sadness, not realizing that they both are two sides of the same coin. One day the mind will be happy, and the next be sad. But see, happiness, if that is what's happening at the moment, will eventually swing to sadness, and it's back and forth like a pendulum. The same goes for love and hate, good and evil, truth and lies. And here's one, mean and niceness. In a relationship or marriage, doesn't that occur? Let's say your spouse accuses you of being mean to her. Then an argument happens. Other times she loves you because you're so nice. You brought her flowers, or you did the dishes. You took her shopping. What else? Controlling and not controlling. Times when you, maybe your spouse, or it can even be your kids. You become controlling at times. You want to control the situation, not realizing that control is an illusion. You hear of wives trying to change their husbands and vice versa. Really, it works both ways. She's not happy the way it is, so in hopes he will change. He will understand. How can he be more understanding? How can she be more understanding? And you both seek counseling because you both want the situation to improve. You want to get there because where you are at here isn't good enough. And as I've shared in the past, once you get there, the there becomes here, and a new there is created. Then the chase continues and continues, What's next? Greed and not greed. Aren't there some times when you are a little selfish and greedy? You get a raise, but it could have been more. And you look at the kids, especially my grandkids, during Christmas, searching for more presents to unwrap. All right. What else? Success and failure. Watching sports, when I do, it's just like the Lakers. They won last year, the championship. Now they have to repeat. So there's a new goal. Get another championship. So they have a season, they have some injuries. It's a disappointing season. Why? Because they lost in the playoffs. So there's a that here, there situation arises. So it's just obvious that the mind swings between opposites. Life doesn't swing. Life is just as it is, whether you like it or not.
Never give up, never give up. Never give up, never give up.
Life is uncontrollable. It's unpredictable. You can't know life. It's a mystery. One gets married and your spouse says to you, she'll love you till death do you part. You say that to her. Can you really believe that? Things change. Nothing in the manifestation is permanent. An affair can happen. Or one says, let's have a talk. And let's say she's not feeling loved or wants a divorce because it's not happening for whatever reason. Or maybe the talk doesn't happen and they stay together, not because of love, but because of convenience. You hear about marriages that have lasted for 30 years or 40 years. But, and that's a good thing. Or, maybe it's has nothing to do with love. Maybe because of the kids or security. So in some relationships, both parties keep their mouths shut. And the relationship is just two people tolerating each other. All right, moving on. A little musical break there. You tell yourself you're a nice person, but telling yourself that, you have to repress mean aspects, thoughts, and behaviors within yourself. You explain them away or overlook them. The boundary between opposites is purely conceptual. Opposites are what you call mutually interdependent. One doesn't exist without the other. You can't split them. And, you see, we aren't our stories. Our real identity does not lie on only one side of a pair of opposites, nice as opposed to mean, for example. Our real identity is awareness. Being awareness is about seeing what is actually there and what's happening, aware of the body-mind. Everything appears and disappears in awareness. You see, no matter what you think or what others tell you or what you tell yourself happens in this awareness. This ego chooses one story over the other and owning the chosen sides as an identity. But what arises in which you are is both sides in awareness. What arises is equal, but we give one side more attention. Yeah, what arises is equal, but we give one side more energy, more attention. Carl Jung calls this the shadow. In other words, what you see as an other with whom you have this conflict with is really your own shadow. It's with you everywhere. Yeah, so this is the thing. What you see in the other dude, it's in you. And focusing attention and energy on one side of a pair of opposites making that your story. The other side is still there, but it's repressed or denied, ignored, what have you. Repression is what's happening. And that is in itself self-deception, full stop. I was told a story the other day of a friend of mine caught in the act of cheating by his wife. And this happened years ago, of course. And she said that his response was, "It's not what you think." His hand was caught in the cookie jar. You see, everyone thinks they are this nice person. We all do. And they start noticing all the not so nice, the mean people in the world. And they point their fingers at the president or the former president or a family member, a former spouse, a celebrity, a sports figure. The list goes on. It's seeing someone with a trait that really, really bothers you. That's a shadow. The other person is a hook for your shadow. And not every trait is a shadow, though. But for example, you may say, this other person talks a lot. That bothers you. That could be a person that just talks a lot. You know it's a shadow if it really bothers you. An irritation, it makes you mad. Madder than a snake that married the garden hose. And me being a piano player, it would make me madder than a piano player in a marching band. So recognizing this is called spotting the shadow. There's a very important point I want to make here. Within the awareness that you are, shadows always appear as others. It's them. They're not seen for what they really are, which are disowned aspects or your personal story. And to dialogue doesn't mean with the other person. It's a dialogue mentally within yourself. The very trait you are reacting to in the other person is a trait operating within your own story. So let's say the other person is a liar and that upsets you. They've lied. It points back to you. Then you are a liar. The only difference is in a matter of degree. So you've lied in the past, haven't you? Have you always been honest? You see, that's how the shadow works. And the shadow work, as they call it, involves spotting the shadow. Number 2 is dialogue within the shadow, with dialogue within yourself, and re-owning the shadow. And what is re-owning the shadow? Re-owning the shadow is to stop seeing that there is a self, yourself, and the other, the separation. The focus is not on the other, but it's on you. Focus is on you. The very trait you're reacting to in the other person is a trait that is operating within you. So you are re-owning the trait you see in the other, which is really in you. So to own that, if you see you see that you're really bothered by the selfishness in the other, see where you've been selfish. You see what I'm saying? Talk to yourself within. By re-owning it, the self-deception just ends, it drops. You see, there's no separation in life. There's just more to this that I'll share in the next one. So time is out. So take care. All right.